Hello again. So, welcome to the next video. This time we're going to talk about targeting by interests. And this is where you'll really start to understand just how powerful Facebook's ad targeting can be. There's some awesome stuff you can do when it comes to interest targeting. I'm going to start to show you that now. We're going to look at how we can target by specific interests. So running, yoga, adventure travel, arts, whatever you want, it's basically going to be there. And then we'll look at something really cool, and that's targeting by popular Facebook pages. So, for example, if you know that people who like Candy Crush are also likely to be interested in your game, so you might have created a match 3 game similar to Candy Crush. So the chances are people who like Candy Crush, they're also going to be interested in your game. Now you can actually target people who like the Candy Crush Facebook page with your ad campaign. So you're effectively targeting Candy Crush's audience with your ads. So some really powerful stuff to be taken advantage of. And now let's head over to the Power Editor and look at exactly what's available. All right, so here we are back in the Power Editor. And we can see this is exactly as we were last time in the previous video for demographics. Before we head down to the interest section, let's talk about connections. Connections are just basically gives you the option to target people who are connected to your Facebook page or to exclude people who are connected to your Facebook page. And you can also do it by friends, so including people whose friends are connected to your page or app. So you might want to exclude people who are already connected to your app because you don't want to show them ads if they've already got it, right? So consider that option as well when you're setting up your ad campaign. Languages, if you've got an app that isn't translated or is unlikely to be useful to people who speak languages other than your app's native language, you might want to target by language here. That's up to you. If you choose to do it, then you have to enter every language that you want to target. Otherwise, you can leave it blank and it will be displayed to all languages. Alrighty, moving on to interests, the really cool part of this video. So basically, if we click interests, we can browse through and just see all of the different interests available. So we can go broad, we can hit fitness and wellness, and that covers the really broad topic of fitness and wellness in general. We can do the same for anything. We can say people who are interested in food and drink. Who's not interested in food and drink, right? Or, and this is what I recommend doing, we can get more specific and we can say, we've got an app that's about dieting. Instead of targeting all of fitness and wellness, why not target just people who are interested in dieting? So what we'll do is we'll get rid of all the fitness and wellness and we'll just type in dieting and we can add that straight away. So you can see broad options, narrow options. Recommend getting as targeted as you can. So going as specific as you can with your interest targeting. So now I just want to cover the relationship between the different interests that you choose here and how Facebook targets your audience based on all of the interests in the list. Now, when you choose multiple interests, Facebook targets anybody with any of those interests in your list. They don't have to have all of the interests. So if we go health and fitness and add it to our list, now Facebook will target anybody who likes all fitness and wellness or who likes all food and drink. They don't have to like both or be interested in both to become part of your target audience. Now we can see that by looking at our potential reach up here. At the moment we're at 110,000 people. If we add something like television to our list, we see the potential reach straight away jumps to 130,000 people because we've got an additional interest group that are being targeted. So that's the basic relationship between our interest selection. So just remember, the more you add, the bigger your potential audience is going to be because Facebook is going to target people with any of these interests. They do not have to have all of them. So now let's just have a quick look at what else we can do with interest targeting. I'll just remove some of these and then we'll see what else is in the list. So we've got all sorts of things. We can target by shopping and fashion, hobbies and activities, so current events, travel, so there's some pretty cool stuff here. Adventure travel, people who like beaches, car rental, cruises, lakes, theme parks, whatever you can think of, it's basically going to be there for your interest targeting. If there's a specific game genre that you wanted to target, that's also an option here. Let's use arcade games as an example. Type that in. If we scroll down, there it is, arcade game. We've got 11.9 million people with this interest. And you can see there's a couple other genres that come up there as well. Racing games, action adventure. And I'm sure if you typed in a few different genres like simulation games, yep, there it is. Really, the best way to do this is just to type something in and see what comes up, and you'll be surprised at the number of interests that are available. Now, something else that I wanted to dive into a bit more, and I touched on this briefly earlier on, was the ability to target specific app pages or specific apps on Facebook. I've used this very successfully in the past, particularly early on when it's not 100% clear on who an app's audience is going to be. If you know that your app is similar to another one that's already in the store, for example, Candy Crush or Subway Surfers, you can actually target people who've shown an interest in the Facebook pages belonging to those apps. And that's a really good way to target a similar audience to the users of that app. So let's just type in one for an example. I'll use Candy Crush, and there it is. So we can see we've got a couple of matches here, and both have a significant audience size, 144 million people and 169 million people. And even Soda Saga has a 56 million person audience. If we look at Subway Surfers, we see great results as well. 28.8 million people and 26 million people. So we've just seen a couple of examples of targeting by app page. Let's also think about some influencers. Because I can't think of any better examples right now, let's try PewDiePie. There you go. So you can actually target people who are interested in PewDiePie. There are probably much better examples of influencers in your particular niche or in your particular industry, and I'm sure you've documented those in the worksheet from Module 1, so that's what you'd want to enter here. I'll just leave you with a bit more of a realistic looking audience that we might want to target. I'll put our interest as Candy Crush. I will say the language that we want to target is English. We'll leave those. Usually you wouldn't go such a narrow audience, but again, it's really dependent on your app, but I would normally say something like 18 to 28. And we'll take out millennials, and we'll take out the life event, and we'll look at more demographics, and we might just target, we'll take out generation, we'll take out life events, and we might set up education level. We might say we want to target people in high school, and we'll do both of the Candy Crush options because the only difference is one has capitals and one doesn't, and that expands our audience. So that's quite a narrow audience, but I think I'd be comfortable with targeting an audience like that to start with. That just gives you a rough idea of what a realistic audience targeting setup might be to get started before you started really narrowing it down further. So that's it for our interest targeting. Next up, we're going to start to talk about targeting by particular behaviors. See you in the next video.